So this video is about structured walking with you and your dog. We're going to be answering questions like why we do it, who's it for, and I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I do it through an entire walk with Tissy, a dog that we have here to board and train. I'll be talking over the footage, so make sure you watch to the end. It's super helpful information. It's going to change your dog's life. So we'll get it started. So at first, essentially what we're doing is, we've been outside with Tissy for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes or so, and we're just kind of warming him up a little bit. I have that tug toy. Tissy has some serious leash reactivity, and one of the most important things is giving Tissy an outlet to release energy, and so all I'm doing here is getting Tissy warmed up with the tug toy. It's imperative that he has a release for that energy. Some dogs it's treats, some dogs it's play, some dogs it's funs. And every dog is verbal reinforcement. And so we're just getting him really excited so that he is all warmed up for this walk, and engaged with me and paying attention to me. If we don't do something like this at the beginning of the walk, he's never going to pay attention to me at all. He's just going to be all over the place. He's going to be looking at this, looking at that. But if we start the walk from the moment we go outside, the attention's here, right? You have to pay attention to me. You get enforced when you pay attention to me. It changes the whole dynamic of the walk and what your dog is paying attention to and how your dog feels on the walk. With Tissy, sometimes it takes him a couple minutes to really get, into the tug toy. If it doesn't look alive, if we're not playing with him, he gets distracted and doesn't want it anymore. As you'll probably see in a minute, you'll see that he, you can, if he's away from it, he'll stop playing with it. But if he's engaged with it, he's on it. And this is also structured play. We're not just grabbing him and playing with him. I'm telling him to, like right there, I just told him to leave it. I told him to lie down. He has to work for it, and then he gets it. So when we play with dogs, we make them work for things, and that builds our relationship. It builds the communication of your dog and getting them used to always listening to you. Everything good happens over here. He did throw the toy right next to a little pile of poop, so he didn't like that very much. But we're making him work a little more, and now we're just going to walk into a little heel, keep him engaged. The whole video we're going to be going over keeping him engaged throughout the entire walk. We're not just walking to walk. A walk is not great exercise for a dog. There was a good example. He jumped up. When he was tugging, you don't get to jump. He jumped up, stopped him, and there was a quick little replay on him, playing with the tug toy, and jumping on me, and the correction. I'll show you there again. Go back to it. I'll give it to him. He jumped right there. He jumps up on me, and I prepare him ready. I give him a little correction, and he doesn't do it. Right? It's all about timing with dogs. Timing is super important, and that is always a rule. That's not just a rule sometimes. That is a rule 100% of the time. You don't get to jump on me while we're playing, because if you don't make it a rule all times, he's not going to pay attention to it. Right now we're passing a dog. He did have some really serious leash reactivity. As a dog is at the end of the leash, running around trying to get at him. And 3 weeks ago, this dog would have been, Tissy would have been a maniac, a lunatic for that. But Tissy did really well. That's him just getting aroused a little bit, and we're trying to show him, that when a dog walks by, even if dog's lunging at you, that's not the time for arousal. And so right now, after he did a pretty decent job, I'm keeping him engaged, but you'll see that he doesn't love the, he has to get engaged. It takes him a minute to get engaged with the toy, and then we play with him, and he's still trying to look back at the dog. So if he doesn't want it, we'll just move on. And that doesn't get him the toy. When he jumps up like that, it's not how he gets the toy. And so, we keep walking around. There was an example. He jumped up, didn't get the toy. We took, a 10 or 15 second break. Nope, no toy for you. And then, okay, now we're back to things. But you don't get the toy immediately. Now this is a little later on the walk. This is probably about 5 minutes later. We're walking next to a busy street. Tissy had some really serious reactivity to cars. And his owners weren't quite sure what it was, if it was a fear thing. With dogs, it's a arousal thing, and it's we've discovered it's the same thing. There's an example when we're walking on a street, we stop. He has to sit at every single crosswalk, and he's now, because we've done it so many times, he really understands every time we get to a crosswalk, he's going to stop and I have to sit. There's him, some cars driving by faster. If there's a car driving over, 30, 35 miles an hour, he will sometimes react at it. And you can tell his ears perk up. He locks in, he gets engaged. It's the same thing that happens with dogs, but it's a lot quicker because the car is flying by. When we're walking a dog, it's, a lot slower of a process. But throughout this whole walk, his job is to walk with me. He can look around, can tell he's a little on edge with the dog, with the cars driving by, but he's doing really, really awesome. He's paying attention to me. He's staying engaged with me. I do a U-turn. He paid attention. He didn't get any leash aggression, and he gets paid for that. I'm constantly communicating with him verbally when he's doing a good job, right? Good boy. Exactly what we're doing. So he knows, right? If we're not telling him when he's doing a good job and when he's doing a bad job, he's never going to be able to understand what you're saying. And so if we are constantly talking to him, he's going to understand at all points exactly what he's doing and exactly if he's doing something good, if he's doing something bad. And then our words mean something. If I tell him no and I give him a little correction, the association is, when he says no, it's bad. And then our words actually mean something. There's another crosswalk. We stop. He was already staring at me right before that. He knows, right? He knows we're getting to the crosswalk. He has to stop and sit. And then we, release him onto the street. That's something that's really good practice for everyone to do to, start teaching your dog not to just run in the middle of the road. It's kind of a safety thing. Things like that are just little things. And if you are consistent with that stuff, your dog will understand. But if you only do it 90% of the time, your dog is not going to understand it. It's all consistency and timing with dogs when we're encouraging him. Right now, there's a lot of cars driving by. You can see he keeps getting on edge for a second and then locking out of it, which is exactly what we want. And we don't, he's not allowed to lock on and stay locked on. There was an example. He was walking too far ahead of me. He wasn't paying attention to me. I turned around. He heard me turn around, so he caught me, which is good though, right? We're trying to give him wins. I'm encouraging him that verbally for him, in that instance, because he did catch me. If he catches me on the turnaround, he's getting no correction. And then we're walking past, and he's right. He keeps stopping and checking in on me because he knows every time he gets distracted and gets a little bit ahead of me, I'm gonna stop and turn around. And if he's not with me, he's gonna he's gonna get a little bit of pressure. That's something that I do on every walk with my own dog, even every day. Yep, he was starting to get distracted. It was a little correction. You could see it wasn't very much, but he turns around and he sees I'm just walking the opposite direction. He's like, "What the heck?" And so he knows he has to pay attention to me. That's something that for his owners after training, especially at first, is going to be really important. That his job when he's on a walk is to stay engaged with whoever's handling him, whoever's walking him. And now we're kind of getting to the point where we're doing a lot more U-turns and stops and, sudden stops and changing speeds and all that. And I think we're approaching, yep, there you go. Right? He stopped. He's engaged with me. That's exactly what we want. And I'm encouraging him for that type of behavior. We're going to start changing the speed pretty quickly, walking faster, walking slower. But we are coming up a crosswalk here. We'll see how he does. I don't know how far ahead we are. There's cars pulling up right next to him. Totally okay. Good boy. Yep, exactly. Stop. He knows I'm going to stop right there every single time. And then I tell him to cross. And that's his command. Then he's allowed to walk in the street. He goes back into a heel when he walks in the street, but that's his command for it. And now we're walking in the middle of the street. It doesn't matter where he is. His job is to walk with me and stay engaged with me. He can look around, as you can see. But this is all about structure. He has to pay attention to me. If he's not paying attention to me, very bad things are going to happen. He's going to react to dog. He's going to do all this. And it's not going to be manageable for his owner. He's going to be pulling on a leash. And so now I start walking slower and slower on his job, right? Doesn't matter how fast I'm walking. Doesn't matter how slow. His owners are having a baby soon. It's important that, that they're able to walk slow. Right? We can walk slow. He's doing awesome, right? He's still paying attention to me. I turn around. He's with me. Stop. Turn around again. He's with me again. Still walking, right? This is exactly what we want. And we're doing this on every walk to keep him engaged. If we did this until he understood it and then stopped doing it, he would completely fall back into his own ways. Now we're speeding it up, right? It's structure, right? We're giving him a job to do. And this is much more fun for him and engaging for him than just walking around and sniffing every bush and every, pea spot and every smell and all this. This is a lot more engaging to him than, anything else you do on a walk. And this is why walks, especially at first when you're training your dog, should look like this, to an extent, kind of depending on how far ahead your dog is, in training. And we're gonna turn around the corner here, and pretty quickly, I just released him. So now we're loose leash walking, where he doesn't have to walk next to my side, but he can't pull on a leash. So when he's on a leash, this is as much freedom as he gets on a walk. And as you'll see, this is only 5 or 10% of the walk that we do loose leash walking. Most of it is in a heel. It's a very structured. This is still structured, right? It's loose leash walking. And here we pass a house that there's a dog in the window just barking constantly. And so we kind of break out of that loose leash walking. That's funny. It's a little beagle, a little hound, rough. And Tissy, he locks in a little bit. You can see those ears perk up. He's kind of curious. There's not too much anxiety there, but I just take it as a training opportunity just to walk up and down. I'm sure if anyone was home in that house, they would be curious why their dog was barking. But we just walk up and down a couple times just to kind of show him, right, nothing bad's going to happen. You still have to pay attention to me. And after 1 or 2 passes, he's totally fine. And just doing this, right, setting your dog up in certain situations that triggers them is really important. So that, right, we can almost desensitize these things. Show Tissy that dog's barking at him. It's not a big deal. So now we're working on some obedience right in front of the dog's house, of the dog barking. One of his issues is his sit and a down. His down is a lot better than a sit, so sometimes when you tell him to sit, he'll lie down. And so there we kind of brought him back up, showed him exactly what we want. And now we're working on some, dragging leash training. This is a little bit of off-leash stuff, but I have the leash in case I need it. I told him to sit. There's another example. He lied down. Bring him back up, and I'm going to encourage him. I told you to sit. This is the behavior that we want. Then I tell him to lie down separately. This is something that his owner should be doing a lot in training. I mean, look how engaging this is for him. This is so much more engaging and fun for him than just a walk where he's anxious. He needs to smell this. He needs to do that. He needs to do this. He needs to go to that. He needs to look at that. Right? It's a game for him. This is a fun game. I just told him to sit there, and he lied down. I need to find his leash in there. No. Yeah, there you go. And so I told him to sit, lied down. When he came back up, I marked it. Yes, good boy. Exactly. This is what we want. And so now, since he was having a little trouble with it, I'm going to test him on that. I turn around and come back. He lies down. And so I'm going to take it a half a step back. I'm going to bring him back up. Pay him right there. Yes, good boy, right in the sit. And I'm not going to walk as far as head, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to encourage him on the walk back. Yes, exactly, right? Your job is to sit, not to lie down, right? And I'm paying him a little extra on that because he was having trouble with it, so we took it a half a step backwards to build back up. And now we're back to some loose leash walking, well, off leash walking, but tell him to lie down, work on all these things, calling him back into a heel. This is all we're doing, and this is fun for him, right? This is a game. He's a working line dog. He needs to play these games constantly, and if you just go on a walk and you're just walking to walk, it's not much exercise for your dog, and it's also not engaging for your dog. And this is right improving his obedience and everything. Vastly, so much more than just a normal walk would do. We're increasing distance a little bit, changing it up, right? Trying to be unpredictable. Sometimes I'll tell him to sit, sometimes I'll tell him to lie down, sometimes I'll, right, that was just a sit, and then he hops back into a heel. That was different than the last couple reps we did. We're still doing the U-turns, even though he's off leash. We're being unpredictable. He can't predict us, and he has to pay attention to us. And when he does, he gets paid. Right? It's a big game of red light, green light, follow the leader. Right, and there was I didn't see that, but there was a male lady on the phone in the truck right there, and that got him a little distracted. And so I brought him back in on the leash, kind of showed him just to have some control. That's why I still had him on the leash. I didn't take the leash off. I didn't need the leash, but it's just it's better to be safe than sorry on that. Told him to lie down. He didn't listen there. Gave him a little correction. Just getting them used to, right? Hey, no, when I tell you to do something, it's not an optional command. I'm never going to ask anything unreasonable of you, but it's not an optional command. And here across the street, there's a dog barking, deep, mean bark, and I show you, right, loose leash the whole time. I'll turn the volume up a little bit.
No.
I'm communicating with him the whole time.
No leash pressure. communicating.
Yeah, dog and rat communication.
Yes.
Right. All I was doing there, it was
Good.
constant.
Is
Yes,
he
no, yes,
not?
no. And so he knows my words have meaning, and I
Yes.
can back my words up with something. Right. My words don't mean nothing. When I tell him no, it doesn't mean okay. Right. And that's a very common issue with dogs and and their owners. But that's what a loose leash or a very structured walk looks like, and I would highly encourage that all of you guys do this on a day-to-day basis, because you saw, right, it was significantly helping his. We were giving him a job to do. It was a game for him. Instead of his game being, oh, I need to smell this, I need to do that, I need to, right, go pee on this tree. His game is now follow the leader, pay attention to me, red light, green light, all these different things, and there's so much more structure on that walk. So if you like videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be making a lot more, and we are releasing a how to train your dog course, a fully off-leash dog course. So if you like and subscribe and follow along, we'll be letting you know when that's out. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe.